don't put it up. Make him wanna. She run representing for
Back again with another one. This is the Bakuya Togere. I don't know if you have subscribed or you have commented or maybe shared it with anyone, but I bet you should because you're missing out on everything good. Welcome, listeners, to the Bakuya Togere.
She said what she said.
And we are back again with another one. In studio with me, we are very cold. We are in Bahamas, somewhere in America, somewhere when you go down the slope, that will be Senegal. We are somewhere in the world under the rock, but we are cold as hell. Now in studio with me, I have these beautiful, very cold women. On my left, I have the beautiful
Sovi, slightly older but gently used.
You have an acronym.
L woman. Right? Slightly older but gently used lesbian woman.
Girl, that is an introduction. that is an introduction. All right, and then we have
this is Hannah, the aspiring rich lesbian.
We got aspiring on there, but it was just rich lesbian before. I used to be.
Hello, hi, how you doing? This is just more.
The sweet chocolate.
Yes, and your girl, Gazelle, the female lover.
Mm-hmm. I like the sound of that. It's the female lover. Now you do that with like the female lover. You have to be sexy and calm. All right. Thank you so much for coming in this cold weather.
I see.
Okay. Okay. Now I just want to check in. How have you been? What's going on with you? What's up? What's up? What's good? Is it good or bad? What's up?
Oh my God. The last 3-4 weeks. Yeah, dear God. It's been really tough. I'm surprised I'm actually here laughing and standing, but because I had a few moments where I keep saying, you know what, maybe I should just give up on this thing called life and but we're moving. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been tough. It's not supposed to. You're not supposed to look like your problems.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How have you been aspiring? What are you doing to be rich?
What am I doing? I've been well. I thank God I've been well, and the past few weeks have been good. I traveled. The past few weeks have been good.
Okay, good things from Hannah.
Mm-hmm. Banange, welcome back, Hannah. From CSW, we're represented.
Yeah.
How have I been? I've just been trying to survive all of it. Like every day you wake up with a plan and something is different by the day. The weather is different. The pocket is different. But you still have to make them somehow. Tomanya, one day that plan will pull through. So I've just been faring through whatever. Steady. Eating chocolates like I am chocolate.
What have I been up to? I've been just finding myself, and then also
Spiritually?
Generally finding myself, and then also trying to make some new lovers.
Okay.
With myself, definitely. That's a project self. It's a self project, and I'm also again glad to be here on the space once again.
All right, it's April. It is April, and on the journal it is called the Healing April. Do you need to tell us? Yes, the healing. Do you need to tell just something about
Like
the
healing. It is also Stress Awareness Month, so it's a lot of mind pulling and struggling. So we are saying let April be for healing. Also because sexual assault also many times develops into, like if you've not dealt with the consequences or impact, it develops into like chronic stress, problems. So we are saying try to heal, learn to find ways to heal slowly. So our journal has those different challenges and activities you could put in your daily routines as you do your self-care. And
I like what you do with the journal every morning. It's either 6 4 or 5 3. I don't know what you're doing there, but yeah, the healing part gets me to the topic of today, and the theme that we have today. It is the SAM, that is SAAAM double A, the Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Now the theme this year is Together We Act. All right, now we're going to take this calmly as we can because it's a little bit sensitive. Yeah. Yes. Now this year's theme is Together we Act, and it emphasizes about enhancing public understanding of sexual violence, amplifying survivors' voices, and fostering solidarity to promote safety and well-being. Yes, and in line, this podcast is going to just create a virtual space, a safe space for diverse women to engage in a discussion focused on shifting community mindsets and challenging the narrative surrounding sexual assault and rape culture. Yes, and specifically we will explore the role of media in shaping perceptions on sexual violence. This is what we're going to be focusing on in this podcast. Okay, and the ladies right here will give us, their mind on how we think the media is shaping perceptions on sexual violence. Now, the female lover will take us through an understanding why we're really here.
Thank you so much. And as the previous speakers have talked about, it being a Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and then we're having stress too, we see that there's a component of intersectionality. So Farouk has been part of the Make Way program, which is we're yet to close out the program. And the Make Way program has always and has been, since its inception, been aiming at breaking down barriers to SRHR access, and mostly for the minoritized individuals. And us here as LBQ women, this program has been able to highlight the underlapping invisible vulnerabilities that we experience that have been barriers to SRHR access mostly. And what does Make Way seek to do? We see that it's building our capacities, mostly LBQ women, to be able to have the urgency to demand for our SRHR services, even access these services. But then also it has been capacitating LBQ women, individuals to see that we are lobbying and advocating still for our SRHR services. And then also we see that we engage through this program. We've been able to engage with different stakeholders. Even as LBQ women, we are key stakeholders in this. So how do we engage as stakeholders, LBQ women, all individuals involved in influencing policies and laws towards SRHR services? And now when it comes to this year, under our lobby and advocacy activity for Make Way, as Farouk, we are aiming at shifting mindsets and attitudes towards SRHR issues experienced by marginalized individuals, and we are the LBQ here. And how are we doing so? We are actually seeking to highlight different SRHR issues we experience, and it being a Sexual Assault Awareness Month, it's a very good element. It's a good timing for us to actually highlight different how sexual assault really does affect our SRHR services. But then also, as using an intersectional lens, how is the media also influencing this accessibility to SRHR services?
Usually, when we speak about sexual assault, people tend to think only about the hetero world, but we need to recognize the fact that sexual assault happens even in the gay, lesbian, bi communities. So, as we explore this topic as LBQ women, we need to acknowledge that even our partners, fellow women, or if you're a man, fellow men, but in this case it's about the LBQ, the fellow women can also assault us sexually. So in doing that, sometimes we don't know where to report, because in case you to report, or you go to any kind of media to report about being sexually assaulted by a fellow woman, the focus will be away from the sexual assault. Instead, they will focus on the fact that you are a lesbian. Yes, I mean, at the end of the day, sex is supposed to be consensual. So, the fact that you've gone to report to someone, or to the media, or you've gone to maybe WhatsApp, or to maybe Facebook, or to TikTok, or it's mainstream media, TV, the focus will be taken away from, and even the reporting by the media will be different. So in it being different, that means you'll not be able to most people will actually shy away from being able to report these cases. But we have to acknowledge the fact that sexual assault happens even for lesbian couples.
Now, before we go any further, we really need to understand like what really sexual harassment or violence means. Like, what's the picture? What picture can we paint for our dear listeners to understand what really sexual harassment is about?
Sexual assault in any way is anyone forcing you to have any acts of sex that may lead to sex, whether it is touching a part of your body that you don't, but in a sexual way. Yes, with the intention of having, yes, it might even be just someone saying something to you. It might not even just be touch. It might be touch. It might be look. It might be a text someone has sent you. Anything that is meant to sexually probably stimulate you, but you are not, because that is why we keep insisting, guys, we have to have consent. As long as you do not consent to something someone is trying to do to you, please, that is sexual assault. It does not matter as long as it's meant to be sexually pleasing to the other person.
It's not only about force, it is the absence of consent. The moment consent is not involved, then it is assault. Then we usually ignore issues like marital rape. Just because I was married to you and you wanted maybe to have things going on and I did not consent, that's already sexual assault. There's correctional rape. Just because, you see maybe a lesbian and you think it would be in my best interest to have some activities to do with me. Kamulage waka, all those, and cyber sexual abuse. Those little texts, those little, images, they're all Indians. Can you see my inches? No, I don't want to see them. I'm very glad I went out of some of those media platforms that used to make it very easy for Indians to penetrate your inboxes and show you their inches, but that is all sexual assault.
You see how we move in town and then the men are busy, saying all these things. Yes. Those are also that's sexual assault, but through verbal.
I am wondering if I went to the other police down there at Gazaland, that guy intersect police there. If somebody told me, if I report, will they give me attention though?
Yes, they are no, you cannot guarantee that they'll give you attention. That is also another thing. But ideally, it is the right thing to do. And if someone is professional enough in their job, they should be able to pay attention to you and listen to what they're saying. But now it gets mixed up at a certain extent, because sometimes someone might say something to you and then they disappear in the crowd. And then what are you going to report? That is why it gets, it's a gray area. It is very
the most visual and the most exact would be the border men, because I'll be sure. Okay, now leave alone the place that I've given you in the picture. But there is when you get out of your house and the border guys have, they're on a line, but the borders are like as if it's no time for work, and if I got a police, if I go to the police, will this police officer get up, walk with me to the stage? And I point out this person, will I get help? Do you think this is something done in Uganda? Can I get help in Uganda?
I have had people share. Yes, you don't need to say mukangezeko ndo banampuliriza. You don't want to try trouble. But actually, if a border man abused you or did something you can go to the nearest police station bajamunona. I've had it happening here in Kampala.
yes.
Things have changed somehow. Just some
Do you
stations.
remember the case of the female MP and the young boy?
Nabila?
The young boy who was sending him, I love you, I do what? She reported that case. You guys don't remember there was a female MP who was repeatedly being harassed by a young man. Yeah, she reported it as sexual assault, suggestive comments, and the boy was held accountable for that. Okay, that would be kind of hard to know if there was power, but it's something that actually works. Okay, the public was, I'm supposed to tell you those things because I'm a man, but yeah, we've tested it in Uganda. I remember that case.
What we should know is that we have laws in place, but just because we are naive, we don't know more about what is in the law. But people touch us, call us out when in public, we can sue them. You have a right to go and report, as long as you have, the law says, as long as you have your evidence laid out. These crimes are actually recognized under some of our criminal laws, like the Penal Code Act. We have the Anti-Pornography Act. Yes.
Now the scenario gets interesting when I go to a police station and the officer is the one doing things to me. Because it has happened. It happens. These things happen. The policemen themselves, the men in uniform themselves.
Like I said, I pointed out, you cannot guarantee that you will get that help. You can only try.
But you try.
Yeah? But also what Gazelle said about evidence. Sometimes if you do not have concrete evidence, it is up to you to be able to prove that. And the fact that sometimes you don't even have that evidence for you to be able to prove that is what might stop you from going to the police. Yes. Now, when it comes to, yes, maybe it's the very people in uniform doing that, there are other means that you can follow. There are other ways you can, if you're aware. You might have to go to another space that can accommodate for you to be able to do what? Yes.
Badge number, or at least a name or something,
Okay.
to identify that kind of police officer.
But also my experience in case it's a police officer assaulting you, I think Uganda with, I don't know, it's called Professional Standards Unit for Police. Here, is it Kololo? Those guys, they do work and they hold those people accountable in case you're able to gather evidence, but then you don't need to have evidence most of the times to speak out about certain things because the absence of evidence has, buried a lot of relevant things that could have been spoken about. So it's unfortunate that evidence is always asked for in issues like that one because you can't go to PSU without it. But yeah.
It's a pity. Now, we are trying to just understand what you can do when something happens to you in public. Now, that was public. Now, it gets me to a bit where you talked about the MP and takes back to media. Yes? Now, media, I'm going to take it in a perception of survivors. Now, we get these things happen to us. Now, the brave women will want to share it out there for awareness so that another woman will be at least alert and careful next time. But the media itself, instead of these stories, do you think media can be best to amplify and respect these survivor stories? How do you think this can be? Because after sharing these stories, these women are attacked. Have you ever read those comment sections down there? Why would you be dressing like that? Huh? Yet this woman is trying to put awareness out there and say men who do this, or if you find something like this, like whatever we are doing right now, awareness. One in the comment section, because we don't, people have freedom to their, those their presidents in their houses and presidents on their data and phone, whatever comment they put down there. So I don't know if many survivors will get to tell their stories.
Media, we shall say that actually it has been one of the tools that most, I think conversations on sexual violence abuses actually was really given attention, starting from the Me Too movement, yes. So it raises awareness, and I feel when when people share their stories, like now we had this recent there was this troubling case of Chwe, that young girl. So us getting to know so getting to know this, like I feel parents are now more aware, being more conscious of whom they are leaving their children with, even being conscious about the schools that they also take their children to. So raising, like, a story can raise awareness, can create more conscious, within the public itself. So I may not be the one to share the story, but another story will make me actually notice or realize that actually such abuses really exist within our community.
There are certain instances where they've come out to actually portray kind of a good image, and we will, of course, acknowledge that, because there are mainstream media houses that have investigated and followed up on certain cases. For example, the one for sex for Max at Makerere, whereby they followed up a case on a certain doctor at the School of Social Science in Makerere, and then they had to release footage. They worked together with the student, and then fortunately my sister was in that class that the guy was teaching, and the police officers came and took the guy. And justice was served. These people are now more scared to do things like that, and that's all credit to the media. So they are doing something, even though it's still lacking somewhere. But some of them are trying.
Okay, maybe now the media itself, like the media personalities are doing something, and then something should be done just to the community. These are the predators. Okay, I don't mean to call them predators.
But some houses are trying, but of course they are doing more harm, I would say, than good. But we wouldn't, of course, fail to recognize what they done did.
The good work.
Yep.
The good work
I like, for all the sexual assault and maybe sexual violence cases that I've come to know about, it has been media, especially documentations and film. These days people are shooting a lot of real life stories from people, like women who have been violated from 1960s, and then it gives you a realization of, like, okay, every woman has to have that story. Like even your great grand, and then I kept wondering, why can't there be a story of a woman's life that has nothing to do with these violations? So like the media now, it has even helped in helping people get justice, because people use these documentaries to actually go back to file like police cases, and that's how like the Me Too movement was very powerful, because there's that violation of men. There was 2 boys called Corey. Like the art industry, the filming industry is full of sexual predators who just get away with everything.
Yes, the producers.
So because of these documentaries and stuff like that, we've come to see that there's loopholes everywhere, and this has to be like now documentations, like those policies protecting people on set, at work, because without media we would not know these things. People keep hiding. So it has
It's everywhere now. Those ones on set, producers, the directors, those are explorers. They explore everything. They explore the talent, the body, everything.
So we have to acknowledge, yes, as much as there are negative impact, there's a negative impact, there's also positive impacts. Like someone said, they raise awareness. That is one of the positive impacts. Like even if people are not aware, if I give the example of the Ginger story, the 2 ladies that were arrested, someone had just gone to report a case of not being provided for and everything, and then it ended up being something else. And in the way it brought to light that lesbians actually do exist in this world, and they also have issues. So I want to imagine it was like a sexual, I don't want to think it was, but if I imagine it was a sexual awareness, a sexual assault case, there would be more awareness created that even in these relationships, the sexual assault happens. Then, of course, there's providing support. When media houses report on such cases, you will find that there are people that will come out, there are organizations that will come out to offer support to the people, to the survivors that have reported these cases. There will always be someone there looking out for this person, or maybe there will be help, whether it is the SRHR service that they need, whether it is mental support, whether it is someone will always come out. So they also help in providing support. And then, of course, promoting accountability. Like when there are organizations, maybe in case something happened and a sexual assault happened in a certain organization, that organization will be forced to take accountability in a way. So there is also promoting accountability. Then, of course, in the negatives, there's sensationalization. Like when something like that happens, if it is in the lesbian world, the entire world is going to go crazy. And then when you look at the comments from the people, they will not even remember that you're a human. First of all, you have feelings. For them, they'll just be thinking you're evil. And the kind of comments that will come out will be a whole other, situation. So sensationalization is going to happen. Then, of course, there's victim blaming. Somehow victim blaming. The people will not focus on the person that has assaulted the victim. Instead, they'll look for ways for the victim. In case it's a lesbian, that maybe that one was just looking for money, so they deserve it. They say lesbians have a lot of money, so they'll end up blaming the victim. How was she dressed? Why are they moving at night? Why are they drinking too much? Why are they using drugs? So they will shift the blame. Yeah? So the victim will be blamed, instead of actually looking at the real case of, yes, it's a fellow woman, but why did you assault this person? Why would you want to assault this person in such a way that dehumanizes them? So it will get away from that. It will just be one of those, why did you do this? Why did you do this? And then, of course, there's perpetuating the rape culture. By normalizing or trivializing sexual violence. Yes, like even in our own community as lesbians, people do not believe that there's sexual assault between lesbians, but it actually happens. People don't believe that there's IPV between lesbians, but it actually happens. So it feels normal. So if you say maybe my girlfriend raped me, they'll tell you, what do you mean they don't even have a dick? What do you mean they raped you? How can they even rape you? You guys, like they make it look like it's nothing. It's something that can't happen. I mean, what do you mean a woman raped you? What do you mean you were sexually assaulted by a woman? And it could just be maybe, like you say, messages. Someone gave an example of the MP that So we have to also remember that sexual assault is beyond the physical. It can be mental. It can be, anything that you do not need, that is supposed to lead into sexual. Yes.
Anything that makes you uncomfortable. That's what we have outlined.
Speaking of the negatives, that media, has to do with sexual assault, there's also perpetrator sympathy, mostly when they are reporting on people who might have a little bit of power. Let's say a man who has a little bit of power, maybe a businessman, they'll report, ginger businessman's reputation at stake over rape case.
By the way, yes.
Yeah, so it's the pity on the perpetrator rather than the affected. You people, okay, I don't want to mention the case because it's still quite hot, but the perpetrator sympathy, the person who has perpetrated is the one to be protected. And the story of the other person, not really very much. Then there's also erasure of marginalized, survivors. If you are a sex worker, what do they mean they were assaulted? Isn't that their job? What they do? Mm-hmm. Like LGBTQ, already they are saying abantu abasanze bana abomukwano gwebikukuju. Already the language they use. Kati abomukwano gwebikukuju. No one is going to fetch justice for you.
How can they?
Yeah, the language is something that is bringing a lot of violence and trivialization, and even the public is picking up on that because it is how the media is reporting. So they need to do much more and reduce on the stereotypes that they bring upon, and they delay justice for marginalized people.
And maybe to add on something is, for a community that has always been affiliated with sexual sexual violence and perversion, let me tell you, it will be very difficult for you to go and report something that has happened to you like that. Because first of all, you are the immoral ones. So, kati ogenda reporting. So that's why you find like it is rare, even when we document, you find that LBQ women don't report things of sexual violations, even within their partnerships. They don't. Most times it's like the gay men and the T's, but the Bakwas don't, because there's the shame first of all in the assault itself. Because I remember I shared something like that about an abuse I went through, and then people were actually making fun of me. And I remember feeling so bad, and like they wanted me to over-explain what happened and share. And then I'm like, okay. So it started making you feel like, why even you're not telling the truth about your problem? So, odaye no muka closet ko, and then you do your own weird healing shit, and that is not really good for you, because you need to get justice. Imagine ukuwa ngatiwa kukiriza all the time thinking, they think I'm a whore, they think I'm this,
I think I'm weak.
They think I'm not, I didn't fight. Like it takes away your...
Yeah, having talked about mainstream media, the role of mainstream media, then we'll also talk about social media. Because social media is us, the real predators. So we'll talk about the point of trivializing, the survivors. I remember the case of Process by Process. Someone came out to seek justice, and people on social media made it a joke. Process by process. It's social media denying justice to our own. Us. So sometimes it goes back to us as people who use social media. We take things to the joking kind of side, whereby people are talking about their stories painfully. By the time someone comes out to share such a thing, they mean it, and they,
Yes, because in Uganda you're serious alone. That's what they say.
Like that thing of victim blaming that Hope talked about. Do you know people are now starting to ask, why isn't the child 7 when the child is 7 years, why isn't she telling us the person who raped them?
Yeah, I heard that.
And I'm like, people are so cold, banange. Although muntu w'emyaka ana, they'll literally take 40 years. They say it takes a woman 40 years to talk about rape. And there's quite an image of muntu yamu raping. Like, it's not there, but imagine a young girl.
Whom they saw, but they were telling them in the dream.
Yeah.
How were they supposed to?
And I see that actually, the media just only also focuses on just telling the story. But then what about what happens if this person was pregnant? Where did they go to? They don't also share the after journey.
Yes. We just get the hot topic.
Yes, and then
do whatever. Milk it out, and then likes.
Go to the next.
We get likes, and then next. Yes, now. Yeah, unprofessional. The producer says they're unprofessional media personnel. Now we all agree that media can be used as a tool, for the prevention and whatever the voice, But how can we balance it? Like how can we balance the need to tell important stories with the need to protect survivors' privacy and dignity? How can we at least advise the media? How can they do this? Like in I don't know that name.
In my opinion, first of all, depending on the type of media you're going to use, if let's say you're going to use TV, it's important. Let's say the person who's going to interview you or something. Give it like a day or two. Talk to, like the producer will tell us, we'll get a topic and then we'll have to talk about it later. He has given you time to know about you, right? So amanyinti, you are sweet chocolate, you're this and this. So when they're asking you questions about certain things, they're not going to prompt. Tagena kusindika. Akachogamba wali otambula. Tewabigula. Didn't you like shake your bum and make the man look at you a certain way? You get someone is there telling you, so when I was walking. So it is important for the person who's taking the story to know maybe something about the victim. Making the victim to feel more at ease, and also to feel like they are trusting this person, and then also for the person not to say things that are not right about this person who is like doing the whole interview. So ategeere omuntu we
Professionalism, that's what we are preaching here. Professionalism in you, the media personnel. How you ask this person. This person has gone through things, the body, the mind, and everything. The least you can do if you want to take the story on, the least you can do is understand the person's feelings before you start making money. Because at the end of the day, we are looking for memes, we are looking for TikTok sounds.
Ideally, what Sweet Chocolate was saying, the media should take a survivor-centered approach. Yes, that is it. A survivor-centered approach is all that will be able, so that you can be able to put yourself in the feet of that person, what they've gone through, and be able to report on it accurately. Sometimes of course, there has to be reporting. And then responsible reporting, of course. You have to have accurate information and do proper research. Usually, there are cases that happen, and I feel sorry for that journalist that broke that story of the Haji story, and I think that story really and up to date, I don't know if I'm not done looking in the right platforms. I have not seen where leave alone the girls. I'm talking about the journalist. Yes, even today I have not seen or heard or anything of what is going on with her from the time she broke that story, because it seemed like the story came back at the end of the day. So it meant that she just used probably her emotions because she was feeling sorry for this person and didn't go down to know what was going to go deeper into that story. So it is very important for you to be able to have accurate information before you just go ahead and that is one thing, right? Yes.
To pull down some the other people. It's both ways.
My quest to media is more of, okay, fine, you're having these, we are sharing these stories, you are documenting these stories of survivors, but then also they should highlight the remedy part of it. Like now, if the survivor was encountered unwanted pregnancy, they should be able to give more information, around safe abortion, talk about emergency pills, like giving people references like to remedies in case of someone who did not come out to speak about this thing. In case I've heard from a certain story, coverage, and there was more information that was shared that is similar to me, I may not really come out to share it, but then I will use this information to go and get this particular service probably that I need. So it should be able to give solutions, remedies to these problems, not again making the problem more.
Why are you doing this story even in the first place?
They're doing stories to get TikTok sounds.
But also, there are people that may be willing to come out but not be out to the public. So as a media person, if someone asks to be anonymous, it is very important to protect their identity in order, because of, sometimes the anonymity doesn't help matters, because people might, say maybe it's a, but at some point, But in case someone is supposed to speak about something, but they might not be out there in the, but they might open a door for someone else that will be brave enough to show their face. So if someone is willing to come out but stay anonymous, please protect that person. Because if you do not protect that person and, put them out there, you don't know what other challenges they are going to face because of that. Of course, you can't guarantee everything will always yield the good results. You won't guarantee people will not get PTSD from all this. But if someone is saying, please protect my identity, it is very important for you to have that in mind.
Please, and then don't chase away that story because nobody's going to show you her face. Hey, I got a face. I got a face, but I have...
Maybe also another thing is that the media should, when it comes to them wanting to sell the news, tafayo over like the age. Let's say some media people just actually will interview an underage person just for the news. Never this contributes to child porn. Never this contributes to more other things. That's why we have like now there's a Muslim person, I don't know how who he is, but he was saying they should remove TikTok because it's causing this. But if TikTok in terina art terina ntino abana b'emyaka gino temwina gena ku TikTok, what are they going to solve? So it has to have like policies, like media olina okuba ne emitendera nti wowe leso omugenyi waliwo confidentiality policy.
It goes back to
nti ono mwana emyaka emeka consent is okwogera
lwaki omwana wa alina essimu nga teyagala agende ku TikTok?
I
don't know. Yes, I don't know why your child has a smartphone and you think they're not going to go on TikTok. That's the burning media right now. What do you expect?
And then also maybe so one thing, when the media is reporting things to do with, like, let's say LBQ personnels, we understand the law is very weird, but sometimes the media might have bias. Into wema reporting akubano nja kuba nange ntya nange nyina okwogera, like when I say abasiyazi bakola kino, that's how I should report it. Yet ngagwe maybe you as probably don't know your bias. So how do you say, fuck the bias, I'm going to report what I'm supposed to report? So bias is also another thing that they should try to get rid of.
Literally what we've been talking about is still, because as a survivor, there are things that come along, there are like support that comes along. That means access to, psychological and psychosocial support, then also SRHR services. So when we see that when the media portrays sexual assault, consent, victimizes, the survivors, we see that actually it becomes a hindrance to, accessibility of services generally, because there will be fear. People who have encountered this that are not out will actually be hesitant to go out and actually seek services, mostly if they need maybe safe abortion, because how will they be able to open up to a service provider and say that I was actually raped, I was sexually harassed, because already there is this misinformation that has been put out on media, already blaming the victims, so that will actually hinder someone from accessing the services they would have wanted to, but because of that they don't access the services.
Maybe if someone is like violated, and then you need to go to like the hospital, and akatambi kabade kaita okuva kumacha since morning the katambo is been, and then there you are, and then you say I tell this, they first look at you and then make you feel like oh wrong place. So like it makes the person or the victim scared to even access the SRHR services. For example, someone who's been like violated or betaga something like maybe rape, or they want to know if nothing was wrong. It might be hard for you already. The narrative is crazy. It might just like stop you from going to the hospital. Instead, and you just. Did you want to say?
It just actually brought me back to, you're talking about the media, the role of media, and now with what is happening with the US freeze, all those companies around that, now there is misinformation and even disinformation. So with just this, imagine someone who has already experienced, an assault. Where are they going to go and access with decentralization of services? So it will be more, a hindrance for them to access.
When this freeze had just happened, you guys, did you see the amount of money they said comes to the LGBTQ? And everyone was saying, all these people have been taking all this money for theirs. And now so many you said funded and PEPFAR funded facilities were affected by that. Yes, it has reduced the people being able to access all these services that were under SRHR services. So even just that reporting of the amount of money, and everyone was asking, guys, where is this money? Who has been receiving this money? That was the biggest misinformation of all time. And people are saying, we deserve it. You know, let them freeze the aid. Let them take the money away. Yes.
By the way,
That is what they are saying.
People, yeah.
People are saying that is what, the government should be able to cater for itself. All that money. So that alone, it impacted the effect. I mean, the house services, because a lot of people, like when you come down to our little space, apart from not having office space, that alone, even the little that they are trying to do, getting a van here to be able to take those services. Now, even the curfew that the van will have gotten, it has been, maybe cut in half. Maybe
even the referrals, you're saying
the referrals
don't have family time
they don't
services.
yes they don't have family services. So you find you find if someone was able to get PrEP, if someone was able to get assisted abortion services, if someone was able to get family planning, they cannot anymore because
maybe at a higher.
Yes, if they are going to access it, yes, and yet before it could have been at a lower or no cost whatsoever. So that the role of the media in reporting that piece of news, my God, it was just
The PR was good. Is it that the PR was good or?
What do you mean the PR was good? It is when it comes.
The way you conclude it was
Let me say. Listen. The PR, when it comes to, I'll use the context of my country because I don't want to speak for other countries. When it comes to anything related to LGBTQ people, the PR is never good.
never.
It is never good. It is never good PR. But in a way, sometimes it will help us. Yes, because we have been more visible lately. Exactly. Yes, but that is not intentional. The intention is to shame, is to put us out there like we don't exist. It is to erase us from. It has worked in our favor, but not straightforward. It's been from that thing of don't talk to me direct, don't go through corners. The PR has been through corners. It is good as let people know these people exist and there is no way around it. Yes, but usually the intention for PR here is never positive. It is always supposed to be negative. That is it. Yeah.
So information, by the way, generally information, like they'll say it. And now with the anti-rights, rising, and the anti-gender, movements, information also now coming to accessibility now to safe abortion services, to family planning services. Information now is limited, not even limited, but now not being tailored directly because of what has happened up in the US, trickling down into coming to language. That means it's also affecting information consumption. So that means we just pray that this information does not erase, like we don't have any more information around SRHR services generally.
Also, almost in the same line as what Gazelle has said, due to this misinformation and we have lost a lot of partners or a lot of spaces that people were able to penetrate before. Yes, because of the reporting from the media, whereby if even an organization was probably willing to receive funds on your behalf, right now they are distancing themselves from this. So there's lots of partners and spaces that had become a little bit open to whatever it is that we do, to who we are as a people. Yeah? So we have lost some of those spaces from just this, the phrase. And most of these spaces are actually able to offer some of those SRHR services. But because of what is going on, they have actually distanced and, kind of isolated themselves from us. And now they don't want to associate.
Also additionally, like, yes, we've been struggling with sexual violence, sexual assault, but we've been kind of sure. Of course, we don't like it, and we've been fighting, but we've been sure of at least the post-abuse. You've been maybe assaulted, we've been at least kind of sure of the post. Maybe we'll be able to get abortion care, we'll be able to get the PEP, but now we are unsure. We are going to be seeing unwanted pregnancies, we are going to be seeing the widening of the health, the gap, because the marginalized groups like the LGBTQ, the persons with disabilities, people in rural areas, we are the ones who have been benefiting mostly from these programs. And mind you, we've been the most assaulted when it comes to sexual violence. So the gap is going to widen, and we are going to see unintended pregnancies, HIV, which is really, really unfortunate in regards to SRHR.
Of which, ngatoina na joda. You get?
Yeah.
Because PrEP is only given to people who are pregnant. Imagine that. Can't imagine you've been violated and then you can't even access PrEP.
Having understood everything, what are some of the ways to overcome fear, shame, and stigma around sexual assault? What ways can we break the silence? Because we have talked about these rowdy people, the dogs barking in the comment sections, but he said that people to share. What are some of the ways to overcome all that?
I'm not sure about overcoming, but I'm thinking for some of the ways that when Gazelle was sharing about what we can do in case of sexual assault, you realize there are people who are not aware of what they can do. Okay? So we just have to create more awareness about this, because some people didn't know that you can actually go to the police and report.
The verbal whatever.
Yes you can actually go and report.
It was today that I
Yes. So I think in our little communities, in our little circles, we can create more awareness about that, because we take some things for granted. We assume everyone knows, but ideally people don't actually know. So if we can create more awareness for those, people maybe will be able to speak out a little bit more. And then for us, or for people who that receive the information about the assault, you have to be kind. You have to provide the space. You have to give the person the space to express themselves. Give them time. If they just want, sometimes you don't even need someone to give you a solution in that moment when they are reporting. Sometimes it's a matter of you holding space for them, yes, and listening to them, and probably giving them a hug. And then when they calm down, you can offer the solutions. Of course, sometimes it might need urgency, maybe someone has been assaulted and they might be at risk of being infected and they need quick help, yes. Of course, you can give this information slowly for them, but you have to let them know it is urgent. But how you let them know is also important. Don't just force it onto them, because someone is already, first of all, dealing with what has happened to them. So just hold space for this person when you're receiving that information. And that way, people will be able to do what? To open up. And of course, have maybe a list of referrals. Because yes, ideally, even in this shrinking space of funding and everything, there are still a few people, there are still a few referrals, there are still a few places that offer these services. And the referrals are there. So let's put down these referrals. Let's let people know that these referrals are there. In case of anything, please contact this person. You are not alone. So ideally, this community has to look out for each other. There is no other way around it. Yes.
Also, like continuously providing these spaces, like this safe space, for example, us every time acknowledging those months, those times where women SRHR is important. We provide the podcast. We provide the women with the voices and the platform to just share like this. So organizations, like anyone who has, this is media, use it for the right things, yeah? Just call up your friends and talk about these things in a way that is not shameful. Don't judge them, just make them feel like, as Gundi Wagambi, our theme for this month is Toliweka.
And I not differ from the previous speakers. My cry is to I know media. I know we just keep capturing stories of survivors, but then also we should be deliberate, talk more about SRHR itself, like consent, like the different reproductive health needs that come along when someone has actually experienced, violence and sexual abuse. So we should highlight more of the solutions, where can someone seek these services, and also accurate information on what different SRHR services or products that are there in line with prevention and curbing sexual assault.
Okay.
Yes, like we've already spoken, there's need for media houses to front survivor stories. They should let survivors speak for themselves, because when they speak, they don't just speak, they ignite change, They ignite movements when they share their own stories. And also, like the female lover has already shared, they should share these stories with intent. You're sharing this story, then so what? Mm-hmm. What next? So that,
are you going to go with the story?
Yeah, how far are you going to go with the story, and also like what next, so that the sharing doesn't end up being disempowering to the people who have shared and who are listening, that now it's over for us, now we've shared, now what next? There should be remedies, way forward, referrals, so that we've shared, people are more open to also share, and they know what to do thereafter. Yeah, that's my recommendation.
Also stop the bias. Yeah, if we're reporting about the queers, say something nice. Yeah.
About following up on your sweet chocolate's point about
Something nice.
about the bias. We need to get it out of our heads that as lesbians or as LBQ women, we don't violate ourselves. Please know that. And then added on to that, please, as a victim, at any one point, it is not your fault.
Yes,
it does not matter whether you were dressed how, whether you're drunk how, whether you are sleeping how, whether you are moving at what time of the night. It does not matter. It is not your fault. Please be aware that it is not your fault. Because every time you victimize yourself, that means you're not going to be able to speak out. But yet when you speak out, you might end up helping other people that might be facing the same situation, and they need to be able to come out. And some people don't recognize even when they are sexually assaulted until at a later period of time. Yeah. So you have to be a little bit more aware of your surroundings, what is happening, so that you avoid. I'm not saying it will be your fault, but when you're aware of you can easily identify where something is going and maybe be able to speak up. And then the other thing is about mbakanulira amaso, you people. When someone is treating you a certain way, don't stay quiet. These days people keep telling, and then also even the crying sometimes doesn't help when you're telling your story and you're crying. Because what? There is going to come a point where you have to actually stand and stay strong and speak your truth and face this person and face the perpetrator and tell them you did shit to me, without you having to actually really break down. If you can, sometimes you have to put the breaking down aside and face that person and tell them, and then later you can break down, because every time you break down, sometimes you'll not be able to deliver what it is that you saying. So tulina okubakaliramu amaaso n'omugamba gundi wankola kino waŋŋamba kino wansindikira message. And then also we need to document. We need to learn to document. Yes, you know. Yes, we need to learn to document. Yeah. Now the lately WhatsApp has that feature of disappearing messages. Yeah? Now if someone is harassing you through WhatsApp and you have disappearing messages on, you're not going to be able sometimes to check that. Yes. So sometimes there's a viewer now. There's a way to beat. There's a way to beat around view once. Yes. If you have a view once text and you have someone else with another phone, you can take a picture of what or whatever it is someone is what. Yes. Yeah. Now that is the only way you can't beat viewers. But otherwise, if you don't know, of course, you might not understand. But it is important. It is important to document these things. Even when you're just moving or in a bar, you're on your phone, you can just put like a voice memo, and maybe it keeps recording whatever it is. Of course, it's not that.
iPhone or Android?
It depends. Well, it depends on where. But I'm sure your phone has somewhere you can record voices.
The entire club, what?
It has.
No, I'm not saying it's going to happen all the time.
No, I'm trying to take notes, and I want to learn this. If I can. Oh, the recorder.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, so we need, but the important thing is for us to be able to document, especially where we can physically document. Yes, there are going to be a few instances where you can't, because at the end of the day, proving is upon you as a person that has been abused. So if you can document, please try and document as much as you can. It will help you. Yes.
All right, now we thank you so much, ladies, for joining us in this conversation. Now here on our YouTube channel, Bakuya Twogere, our awareness looks like this podcast. This is what we have done for the month. It is this podcast, and we hope that you will not just sit down with this podcast. Just you're going to share it, and if you don't share it, at least comment something that's share whatever you really want us to know and what you want the world to know. They said shame them, name them, make. Now the other urge to the media fraternity, I am calling out UCC. You take all these medias. I mean, just point out who is doing what, how are they doing it. At least let's have professionalism in the work that they're doing before they start shaming out, and they have stories that are half-baked or whatever, stories that give them likes and everything. I just hope that you look into that. And to the people out there, our sweet listeners, please be aware. Now, I just learned today, 40 years of my life, this is when I learned that I can report a verbal assault. It is you're so done, I'm telling you. It is over for you, men. Be alert, don't take out anything uncomfortable, anything that you wouldn't want to tell another person. Please don't let it out of your mouth. Report. Go ahead and report these things, because I really would want to see a story on TikTok where we are talking about a man who just said your story jetuliko, and we give it more attention like any other story, like, and then for the cultures there today, as we are doing the sexual assault awareness month today, we would want to work towards creating a culture that supports survivors and promotes consent and prevents sexual violence. And this will mean, consent to the cultures and the communities that we stay in. Please, consent.
Just one thing about consent. Please remember, consent can be withdrawn at any time. You might start off wanting, but somewhere in the middle, when things get funny, please, you can withdraw your consent, and the person is supposed to respect your right to withdraw consent.
Yes, and it's enthusiastic. It's not supposed to be begged for. Like, I got consent, but you've been begging me since morning. That's not consent. I should enthusiastically say yes.
All right, now don't forget. Now, yeah, we move on from consent. No means no. Whenever you hear a no, that means that no. Please, no. That's a red sign. Nah, don't do anything I don't want. Silent or lack of resistance doesn't imply that yes. When I just keep quiet from your advances, doesn't mean that I said yes. Don't close. Don't think for me. I don't think for anybody, and to the survivors and everybody, support is available. Such as hotlines here at Farouk. We have this toll-free number that is 0800-100093. I'll read it again just for you to get your pen right now. Look for a pen, and we go with this is the toll-free number 0800-100093. Now this is the number you can call in any time that you feel like you need to. It's a toll-free number, means you don't need airtime to call that number. You can just holler and you will get help. Any type of help, any type of advice, support is available. Now we have also a GBV emergency line, which is 0757-709-096. Just for you to get a pen again, 0757-709-096. That's a GBV. Now GBV means gender-based violence. Now whenever that partner gets to be violent because of the economy, just holler and you will get help. All the help that you need. The counselors are on the standby. We are waiting for you to just say what's up with you, and we will hook you up with all the support that you need. Yes, now this is the end of this sweet podcast, and I urge you all to just be. Now you go in their chat, their accounts, and just there's a pin in your chat, the way you message, there's a pin there. Tap on it. It will bring location and everything. Location is where I want you to go. Tap it, just live location will come. Just send it to anybody so that we can locate you anyhow, anytime. Be alert, be sharp. Listen to everything about sexual harassment that you can get. Now, this goes out to the ladies. I love you so much, and I don't want you to get hurt. Until next time, this has been the Bakuya Togere. Thank you so much for tuning in.
She said what she said.
I got a question.